Nice to talk to you. You're not sitting in a street while we're talking, so you're not bothering people, so that works for me. Look, we'll keep you on air as long as possible and our roads clear. Spoke to one of your eco colleagues and yesterday. We've spoken to many over the last few months. The British public are getting pretty tired and pretty bored and pretty frustrated with these demonstrations. How long are they going to continue?
Well, we're not quite at every man and his dog on the street yet, Julia, but we are seeing more and more people going. I'm heading there myself today after we've had this lovely conversation. 11 a.m. at Downing Street, people are meeting because our government are issuing kill policies. Now, last time we spoke...
Issuing what, sorry?
Kill policies. Policies that they know mean a certain number of British people have to die in poverty so that few can hoard excess. That's the reality of our situation at the moment, isn't it, Julia?
I'm going to go with no. I definitely know that we're going to have a situation where we're going to be people who will die because it's cold this winter and people are afraid to put their energy, their heating on because of the cost of it, because we've invested in not enough fossil fuels. But, yeah, that's why people are going to die this winter, yes.
No, people are going to die because they do not have the money to afford heating and eating.
Let's give everyone money then. Let's just give everyone money. That's the solution.
Well, at the moment, we're only giving it to those who already have excess money. So I fail to understand how you think that's the way to do it.
Tracy, I'm not sure you understand how government finances work.
Babe, I really do. I think either you don't understand, you follow terrible economic theory. We've only been doing it this way for about 40 years. Now, last time I was here, I was saying we need to insulate our homes. Yeah. Get on with projects like that. Otherwise, we are going to be having wars, famine, drought, and thousands of British people die. Now, all those...
No, wait a second. Back up. Tracy, if we insulate our homes, we won't have war, famine or drought. I mean, that's a bargain putting a bit of... Do you know what? I'm going to go and insulate my home today.
Look at us.
How does that save us from war and famine and drought? I'm confused. The power of home insulation.
We can all tell you're confused this side of the line. We are in a climate emergency. Now, my dad used to keep tropical fish, right? And they were tricky to look after. One morning you could wake up all dead because the temperature changed slightly. Now,
or a Tory government, you know.
You're so facetious about such an important issue.
What, dead goldfish? Yeah. Can you tell me, what is the purpose? What is going to be achieved by activists going into a big posh shop in Piccadilly, picking up pints of milk and then throwing them all over the carpet? What was the message and what was the purpose of that? Because all I saw was spoilt brats having a tantrum, and if they were my kids, they'd have been sent to their rooms.
Well, we practice non-violent direct action, so this is a type of protest that we've seen through history that really works. For example, with the suffragettes and with the American Civil Rights Movement. And we do this action to make our demands very clear to the government. And we have two demands. And the first is that the government support farmers in a just transition to a plant-based future. And with the freed up land as a result of this transition, that the government support farmers again to rewild this land, to give it back to nature, to draw down carbon from the atmosphere, and to restore our precious biodiversity in this country.
So much to unpick there, Robert. I don't know where to start. First of all, as a woman, I'm really not impressed with you comparing yourself to the suffragettes. The reason why women had to actually resort to some of these tactics, and indeed some cases violent protest, was because they didn't have the vote. Last time I looked, you've got a vote the same as I've got a vote. If you want to, and the civil rights movement, again, black people who didn't have equal rights, they didn't have the vote. If you want to effect change, stand for election, put your case to the people and then see how many people support you. If we've got food insecurity, how does throwing away perfectly good pints of milk help that?
So we're calling for a plant-based future, which we know will use significantly less farmland, so we can produce far more food with far less resources, which will, in the long term, increase food security.
That's not actually true, Robert. That's not actually factually true.
To support farmers who are struggling the most, arguably.
That's not actually true. It is actually, by people eating meat, people get a lot more calories, a lot more protein from eating sort of smaller amounts of food. We are born with teeth that can go through meat for a reason.
Well, I should be clear, Amnesty's not a litigant in this case, so I can't advance to you what the claimants are going to say or indeed what the government will say in response. But broadly speaking, I expect the court will again hear that there are extreme concerns about the safety for anybody who is returned to Rwanda, that it's not compliant with our international obligations to the Refugee Convention to simply try and expel our responsibilities to another country, which already has a refugee population broadly comparable to ours, despite being a far smaller country with far fewer resources and struggling to cope with that. And that the suffering of people who are at risk of this, or are seemingly at risk of this, left in limbo and facing the threat, is a disgraceful way to treat often traumatized and extremely vulnerable people who have come here legitimately.
Well, hold on a minute, though. Basically, the Rwandan government was happy to accept money to do this. We're not just sort of saying, hey, Rwanda, we're just shipping people over to you. I mean, they did agree to do this. The idea that the Rwandan government can't make their own decisions about these things seems to me to be quite bizarre.